When you're hiring your first employee here, regardless of the business, there are going to be employment agreements you need to adhere to, as well as NDAs, especially if you are working with sensitive information, such as we do here at Relocation Serbia. All our employees obviously have an employment agreement here, and they all have signed NDAs. But what are some of the differences from the employment contracts that we have here in Serbia compared to your home countries? And what are the NDA differences between what we have here in Serbia's NDA laws and the ones that you have in your home country? That's what we're going to go through today, especially for those business owners that have set up businesses with us here in Serbia and now have grown to the point that they want employees. And sometimes they're like, wow, I didn't know that Serbia is that much easier or that much harder. So today we're going to go through some of the major points that you need to be aware of when you are looking to get employment contracts in place, as well as NDAs. Now, for an individual like myself who comes from Canada, I know that we have labor laws there. However, employment contracts also are negotiated with the employer and the employee. One thing that you have to understand when you're coming to Serbia is that when you're looking to employ someone here in Serbia that is a Serbian citizen, the employment contracts are law first and non-negotiations. So you're not looking to negotiate a contract. When you're looking to get an employment contract in place, you're just confirming the laws that are already in place. And so you cannot contract out of statutory rights. That is first and foremost, unlike some of the other countries where you can do that. Even though both parties do agree to contract out of statutory rights, that is actually essentially illegal, right? And courts will default to employee protection as well. So you have to understand when you are signing employees here, you are just confirming the laws that are in place. Now, the other one you have to also take into account is fixed term contracts are automatically converted into permanent unless you verbalize, hey, listen, your contract is coming up. Let's sit down and renegotiate your contract. So I typically, when I hire employees here, they're for 3 months here. And then I will, have a notification coming up 2 weeks ahead. Hey, let's renegotiate this. Let's look at how your performance has been. Are we extending it to another 6 months or keeping it another 3? Are we giving you a pay raise? So on and so forth. So if you are silent when it comes to your contract ends, it's going to be automatically switched over to a permanent employment contract, which is a shocker for a lot of people that are foreigners coming into Serbia. So do not be silent whatsoever. We as Serbs here are not silent people, and so you should not hesitate. If you are an employer and you're not sure how to do something, you can always reach out to us and we can look at how your business is operational, what kind of contracts you have, what we can do for your contract. So you need to understand that you always have to talk to someone and get accurate advice. The third thing is that notice periods are bilateral, not employer controlled, should I say. So the employer can't just walk someone out. Employees can't quit overnight either, and minimums are statutory, not discretionary. That's something you have to understand as well. Now, there's also mandatory paid leave, which I found something that was, actually a beautiful thing here, especially for an employee. I know I'm a contractor. I have to pay my employees, go on to paid leave, but someone who used to be an employee in Canada, I wish I had paid leave. I know we had vacation pay that was just added to your paycheck, and then you could either take that 10% or whatever it is, put it in a bank account for your vacation time. But it never works out that way. But here in Serbia, if you're going on vacation, you are paid for your vacations on your salary. So typically, it's 21 days out of a year that employees get paid time off here. Typically, you see people taking 10 days off in the summer to go to Greece, go to Croatia, Montenegro, wherever it might be, and they'll take their other 10 or 11 days off in the holiday season, which just recently passed. That's why during holiday season here, typically middle of December till middle of January, it's very difficult to get things going on here, especially from an administrative side or working in any government institutions, because a lot of people are actually off. And funny enough, I myself went to the police station last week, which was right after Serbian Christmas. And one of our clients came into our office, or he wasn't a client at that time. He just came into our office and said, "Hey, listen, I have a date to go for my biometric cards on so-and-so date. And I want someone to go with me simply so that there's no language barrier and there's no issues." And his appointment was set for 8 o'clock in the morning. And we got there at like 10 to 8. And these offices are pretty much set to a timeline, and they're pretty efficient when it comes to that. And it was about 8:30, and I'm like, something's wrong here, because they're never late. The door's still locked, and you don't see anyone around. Come to find out that we went up to another office where I know that they give out their biometric cards, talk to someone there, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? There's actually no one doing these biometrics today. The person who signed on for you guys to come on today shouldn't have done that, but we'll get it done." And there's like myself and 6 other people waiting in line. So we ended up doing it in another office, but it just goes to show you how dead some of these government offices are during the holiday season, because people are using up their vacation time. The other time that you need paid leave is, or you're going to give it out as an employer, is for marriage, for spouse childbirth, and blood donations. That's something else that you need to give them time off for, and that's paid as well. So, of course, you can ask them for proof for this stuff, but it's not mandatory. And I always like to give my employees the benefit of a doubt unless they give me a reason to not trust them. The next one is that when you're negotiating an employee contract, you're always talking about the net salary that they're going to get, not the gross salary. A lot of times in North America or these other countries, when someone says you're going to make $100,000 a year, that is going to be before taxes, right? That's going to be not what you take home. Here in Serbia, on the other hand, you're not talking about a yearly salary. You're talking about a monthly net salary that they're going to be taking home. And you, as the employer, are the one that's going to have to pay the above and beyond, the social contributions, the pension, the health care, everything else like that. On top of that, the payroll taxes and compliance filings. So when we're talking employee contracts, you're talking about monthly net take home for your employee, which you need to take into consideration when you're proposing someone that pay. NDAs now are a separate, stronger, financially punitive document that you have to look at. They are standalone contracts separate from employee contracts. So we have to keep that under understanding. And they apply during and after employment. So one thing that I really like, especially being here in Serbia, is that say one of my employees left, that NDA still is binding, where In other countries, you sign an NDA, you may quit and potentially be able to speak on that information, which I think is not the greatest thing, but some countries like to do it certain ways, and Serbia obviously does it a different way. And then within that contract, you're going to have actual contractual penalties, not just damages that you can enforce in there. So what I have in my contracts are that if someone does disclose some of the sensitive information that they're available to here to someone else, and it damages my business or damages our reputation or our business in some way, that they have to pay X amount of months in their total net payment in penalties. So if I'm paying an employee 100,000 dinars net, and they per month, and they break the NDA, I have 3, 4, 5 months of 100,000, so essentially up to 500,000 RSD that they will have to pay me in penalties for breaking that NDA. So we need to understand that if they do, or the employees need to understand, if they break that NDA, that it can be expensive for them. So it's very important that they do not break that. And then the next point is that confidentiality survives employment, which is indefinite. So it doesn't ever run out. So if they leave, there's no sunset rule unless it's automatically written. Applies to all formats, verbal, digital, and internal knowledge. So it's good to know that. Courts and jurisdictions are non-negotiable. So if the NDA is signed here in Novi Sad, you will have to go to Novi Sad, and it'll be local courts, local laws, and employee-friendly interpretation, which is something that, of course, needs to be done. Competition bans are not automatic, but must be paid. So if you have a no-compete clause in there, and your employee goes to find another job somewhere else, that's fine. But if they're looking to go into that same business and you have a no-compete clause, you have to pay them. So it cannot be implied. It requires a separate agreement and must include financial compensation. And paper trail culture is real, so always make sure that you have paper trail when it comes to that. If you are interested in having some sort of employment contract developed or NDA developed and not sure about the rules and regulations for the industry you are in here in Serbia, always feel free to reach out to us. That is something else we do provide on the corporate side of our services. Yes, we do help with temporary residency, business setup, so on and so forth, but we also have a corporate service side to our business, and that's one of the things that we provide to our clients. And so I hope that this video helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free to book in a consultation with myself and my team, and I'll see you on the next one.